Hello everyone, I'm glad you're here today. You guys know I love being a voice for those underdog and underrated, seemingly unseen products in the drugstore. But today I thought it might be fun to go the other direction and focus on the things that I feel like people are talking about left and right on social media. The drugstore things that just seem to get a lot of hype and just incorporate all of them into a full face. I pretty much like shop my stash for this stuff, like I have it on hand, but I want to give it all just a really close look today and see like, is this stuff really all it's cracked up to be? And what kind of a full face does it make too? So it's gonna be all drugstore. My skin is already prepped and ready to go. And this thing for sure, I see this everywhere. People are talking about the e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Filter. Ever since it launched, I feel like it's a beauty creator's like quick and easy thing to say, this is a dupe for Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. Frankly, I feel like it has a little more coverage in it than most products that are like this. I wear it in the shade 2. It does give my skin a nice glowy base, and I think it works best as a primer, but you'll see like it adds a bit of coverage to my skin too. But yeah, don't you guys feel like if you're watching TikTok regarding drugstore makeup for any length of time, you're gonna see this get used a lot? So I'm just blending that around with my e.l.f. Duo brush, and you can see just this and this alone, it does take my complexion up a notch. Compared to my favorite glowy primer, the Maybelline Perfector 4-in-1, this feels like just a little bit more going on the skin. It almost feels like, you know, a layer of makeup, whereas the Maybelline feels like kind of a lightweight primer. And I think this is a little more glowy than that. So I may not always even want this much glow going on under my makeup. But there you have it. At this stage of the game, the skin certainly looks more alive than when I just started. This is an interesting one. Sometimes I feel like creators are always just like jumping on the newest thing and really clinging to that as something, oh, it's so good. But I feel like I've seen a lot more of this particular foundation getting buzzed lately. And it's the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless. This is nothing new. I have mine in the shade Light Beige, and I do like this foundation. If you're ever filtering through your search results on, let's say, Walmart or Target, this usually comes up among the best-selling products. It's interesting. It's old school. It's not even got a pump on it. I could probably buy a pump on Amazon and start using it that way, but I don't use this one a whole lot. I feel like it's a solid medium coverage, and it does look pretty on the skin, but let's see how it pairs with the e.l.f. today, because we're basically taking matte and poreless foundation and we're putting it over the top of a pretty glowy primer. But yeah, Fit Me comes in a couple of formulations. They have the Dewy and Smooth and the Matte and Poreless. So I'm just dabbing this in. I'm definitely using a brush with this because I want to maximize the coverage as much as I can. Oh, it does look pretty. It really does. It doesn't look too makeup-y. I'm trying to think what other thing that I really like that I'd compare it to. Well, especially with that primer under it, it kind of makes me think of the L'Oreal Hyaluronic Tinted Serum, which I know I personally have hyped up quite a bit. It's kind of on par with that in terms of the coverage. And like I said, going on top of this glowy primer, it is giving me a nice kind of balance, I actually think, between the two. I can see a glow on my skin, but I'm not feeling like it's too much right now. Everyone's loving the NYX Bare With Me Concealer Serum, and I do feel like this is a really good option if you just simply can't get on board with concealers like e.l.f. Camo Concealer or NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop. If you have a real issue with concealers making you feel too dry, I think you might like this. This is really a little bit goes a long way product, though it pumps out and you just don't need a lot. I wear the shade Light. So watch, I'm just gonna get the smallest little pump out there, just a tiny little, what's that even the size of? Like a bead on a necklace? I don't know. And then like as you spread it between two fingers, your little dots that you put on are really gonna stretch on the skin, you're gonna find. So I'm also a fan of this. I think this is a good drugstore concealer to have. I think the formula feels kind of above and beyond drugstore, if you know what I mean. It just seems very advanced in the way that it can be so thin. It can still have a lot of coverage. Anything with that little goes a long way quality, I kind of look at it and say, oh yeah. So I'm just getting that all around with the small end. I'm just taking my dots and spreading basically, and then I will dab in with my larger end of this brush, okay? Moving that product around and then dabbing in. So I say it's good coverage. Is it as good of coverage as my NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop? or e.l.f. Camo Concealer. Personally, I feel like it's just coming in a little bit under those. However, in the lightweight department, in the undetectable department, it's ranking even higher. There's always some give and take, but I feel like this concealer is really worth the hype. I'm adding just a teeny bit more right in here, the deepest part of my under eye. It's Tuesday morning, y'all. Okay, here's our complexion combo so far. Do we feel like it's worth the hype? I really especially feel like this one is. The e.l.f., I like it, but it's just not simply my favorite in that category. Like I said, I like the Maybelline Perfector 4-in-1 because it's a little lighter on the glow and lighter in the feel. The Fit Me Matte and Poreless, it is a pretty foundation. I shouldn't really take anything away from that. I like to see a product also that's been around for a while continuing to get some love. The drugstore powder that I feel like so many people are loving is this Halo Glow. This is in the light pink shade. And I remember when this came out, I got my first like triangle powder puff. It was the one e.l.f. made. And my world kind of changed, you know, in terms of the powder puff setting powder method. It really worked for me. So I'm tapping a little bit of that light pink powder into my cap. And we're talking a light pink powder. I've gotten the one size pink powder and that stuff is pink. And this stuff is just kind of more so like brightening, okay? It's a very barely there pink effect. And we're just dabbing it into the under eye area. And I'm setting all around with this too. Well, not like all over my face, but I'm setting T-zone as well. It's a very lightweight powder. I have been so glued to my Maybelline Fit Me lately. I just feel like it's perfect. Like I was saying in the last video, I went back to Laura Mercier Ultra Blur, which is still a great powder, but my preference was even more solidified after I did that. I don't know. So I dabbed that in, dab in the Halo Glow. This is, again, very lightweight, very brightening in tone. I feel like I could use this interchangeably with Fit Me more often than I do and like it. I do like this powder. I don't like it quite as well as Maybelline Fit Me because I feel like there's something in that shade called Fair that's just like a little more opaque, a little more like really going for it on my under eye. Another really good one from the drugstore is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus. And I've swapped to that one a time or two. It's great, but there's something in the Fit Me in Fair that's just a little more brightening, I think. We're gonna go on with some liquid bronzer products, and I feel like I see these things getting nothing but love on like TikTok, other forms of social media. The Butter Glow from Physicians Formula. This is their liquid bronzer, and this is their liquid highlighter. So I'm gonna first use the liquid bronzer. I see some people going in with this like practically like it's a primer. I've seen it mixed with foundations, and I see people really just enjoying using a bit of it as that liquid bronzer. And I feel like I really liked it when I first got it, but I just haven't continued to grab for it. Okay, I'm gonna need a little bit more on that side. Can you grab my Sephora 56? Oh, it blends with ease. Why am I not using this more? The look is fairly subtle, I'd say. Yeah, I can see how people are sometimes priming with this because it's not super dark. I feel like it's a fairly convincing looking bronzer, is it not? Like it's not going too deep and dark. It's sculpting me a little bit. Frankly, I think the rest of the internet needs to get on board with Hard Candy more and get on board with Wet n Wild even more than it is. Because Wet n Wild wears walnut, all those little sticks that they make, and also from Hard Candy, you know, the face-off stuff. I feel like that's yet to be unlocked by the masses. This I think is good, and gosh, it's a generous, like 1.3 fluid ounces. That's more than you're getting in the average foundation. Cool product, just not my favorite. Okay, blush. Milani Luminoso. I feel like this is one that will just never drop down too far. I also have been hearing a lot about the newer L'Oreal blushes, the Freshwear line, those beautiful matte full pigment blushes. I like those. I really do. But this is kind of the OG drugstore hype situation here, Luminoso. So I'm gonna get some of that on my e.l.f. blush brush. And yeah, she's pretty. She gives you that glow. It's really, really peachy. If you're not into a peachy colored blush, maybe this isn't for you, but gosh, it's looking good kind of coming up over that bronzer. What other shades do you like in this line? I feel like it's harder to find the others. Like if I'm ever out in Walmart, I just don't see much more than this. Maybe people are just gobbling them up. Yes, we like it. We will always enjoy this blush. Not my absolute favorite. I think if social media wants a glowy drugstore blush, they must they must check out the CoverGirl Instant Cheekbones. They're gonna give you a little more bang for your buck in the color department compared to this. And then the glow is totally in there with a separate little highlighter. Okay, and then we've got our liquid highlighter, which I do think this is very pretty as far as liquid highlights go. I think the method you gotta apply it in is just gonna be a little more fussy, you know, than those that come with a wand applicator. We're thinking of the Wet n Wild, like Hello Halo and stuff. But it is pretty. I'm dabbing it on. This is like a little, basically a concealer brush from Real Techniques. And I dabbed it on my hand first and then to the brush. And the look is so soft and pearly. It's hard to argue with that. Like, that's a beautiful glow and it's not feeling too sticky on the skin. You're getting a generous amount of product there. If it was one or the other for me, I'm a little more into the highlighter. It's easy to blend. You do have to squeeze some out and kind of like, well, what do I do with it? Would you want to put a big dab directly on your cheeks? No, I think you want the middleman. You want to use the hand, but it's gorgeous. It's giving me that same kind of look on the skin that I get from like the Rare Beauty highlighters. So I see the hype. I see it. The drugstore setting spray, I feel like everybody really loves is the Milani Make It Last. Right now I only have the one that's in the sunscreen version with the SPF 30, which is fine. I already got my sunscreen on today, but yes, we'll take some more. So I'm going to use that. I would agree Make It Last is a good setting spray, but I think there are a lot that can function really well from the drugstore. The e.l.f. Makeup Mist and Set, and also from Hard Candy, their Sheer Envy Longwear Setting Spray, amazing. For brows from the drugstore, as I was thinking of this, I was having trouble honing in on like, oh, one super recommended thing. I feel like everybody's found their different ABH Brow Wiz dupes, so I'm just gonna use one of those in my collection. This is the e.l.f. Ultra Precise, and I wear it in the shade Cool Brown. It's got the little spoolie on one end, the skinny brow pencil on the other. The thing about these is you do go through them fast. This is the product in my collection that I burn through, is skinny brow pencils. But it is great that there's something from the drugstore you can get. I mean, almost every line has a skinny one. Frankly, almost every line has multiple takes on a brow pencil too. Just find your shade and get on board, right? What do you guys think about Tate McRae, pop star, pop singer? I think she is like the next coming of a Britney Spears type of pop star. Like, who else is getting out there and doing like the dance pop with performances, full on like squad of dancers? Like, where did that go? She's bringing it back, I feel like. I'm just thinking like she's the next big thing. I'm not sure if that song Greedy could be much more catchy than it is. I want myself. And then we're just brushing through. For the gel, I couldn't really think of something where I'm like, oh, everybody's really hyping this up. Above and beyond all else, social media hypes up the drugstore complexion products most, and I think the eye products just don't get a ton of love. This is NYX Control Freak. I think this is the I think this is the best clear brow gel in the drugstore. It really holds great. You can fluff them up and they'll stay fluffed. For eye primer, there's this girl who's been on YouTube since the dawn of time, and she just can't get off of Milani eyeshadow primer. That's me. I'm the one who likes this. That's just what we use. People should be talking about it more. I feel like this video is half, yes, sharing the hyped up stuff and half vouching for the unhyped. It's just not an exciting product, okay? It's not as exciting as whipping out the doe foot and hearing the... There have been a lot of good drugstore eyeshadow products come out lately. Good stuff from Hard Candy, good little quads. Just looking down here in my drawer, NYX has redone their palettes. They've done an amazing job with stuff like this. We Learn Makeup Revolution is doing some really pretty, like, smaller palettes and stuff. But I feel like everybody's still on the train of the e.l.f. bite-size palettes. By the way, why in the world did they take away the bite-size blush and highlighter palettes? Why? That was one of the best things e.l.f. had, and e.l.f. has some really good products, but those blushes and highlighter combos, those were just so good, and I felt like people really liked them. Where did they go? But people are still raving on these. The cream and sugar one I see a lot of. I decided, because we're a couple days away from Thanksgiving, and actually I think this video will probably go up on Thanksgiving. This is pumpkin pie, and I haven't used my pumpkin pie one a whole lot. Frankly, I don't feel like it's incredibly well balanced, and I don't feel like a lot of these bite sizes are the perfect balance of shades. Like some are nice bits and pieces, but what about Wet n Wild? Gosh, I didn't even say that, but Wet n Wild, you know, you're getting a 5-pan palette for the same price, and they're doing amazing with that stuff. Walking on eggshells, come on. I'm gonna take this warm brown over here, get a little bit on my brush. Now these are pigmented, they're nice. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying I don't see why other stuff in the drugstore eyeshadow wise isn't getting more buzz. Maybe people are just kind of sticking with what's being talked about, like, oh, this is a safe thing to rave on. Lots of people talk about this. Is that maybe the way some influencers are? I don't know. I just love to see more people who are in a place of influencing, like, really dig in, you know? Try some of the stuff that doesn't get talked about left and right, and you'll see there's so much more. So I'm being really light with this because it's kind of my started out crease color, and I don't want it to be too dark. I'm going to try a little bit of the shade next to it too and sort of pull that in, because sometimes shimmers are really pretty when you shear them out. I'm going to go over that whole like space that's above my crease with it, and then I think I'll blend the outer edge. That actually looks really pretty. The All Matte Quad, the I Love You a Latte from e.l.f. I think is a really solid basic. I hear a lot of people talk about cream and sugar, but that's not really my fave. It's okay. I like the one that has the dark blue. I think it's called Carnival Candy. It has like a dark blue and some warm colors. Blending the edge with a bare brush. Okay, I'm going to take some of this dark brown. It's kind of a cool brown in the midst of the warmth of pumpkin pie. And we're going to pat that on the outside. I feel like this brown could be more intense. Sort of soft. Maybe I need to build even more. It's just looking a little like kind of powdery medium brown right now. I'm going to take my small pointed brush and see if we can go at it even harder in the crease. Yeah, okay, we can build it a little. It's okay. What's happening now is okay. By the way, this top, I love these tops from Walmart. Look at them. It's a little bit of a grandma vibe, like the kind of look I feel like I definitely maybe saw on my grandma back in the day. And I love it. Super comfy, like the little buttons here. I guess we'll go to the shimmer we haven't used yet. What's even the difference between these two? The difference is pretty darn slight for a 4-pan palette, okay? I'm gonna take a little of that. I do like the texture of the shimmers. I was surprised to see the matte not go as hard because they usually do in the e.l.f. palettes. Oh, hello. How are you?
Good. Hi.
What do you have to share with the class today? What are you learning about in first grade right now?
Ancient Egypt.
Are you enjoying that?
Yeah.
Yeah, she made me look up something on Netflix last night because she's so into it.
Bye, guys.
Later.
Later, alligator.
After a while, crocodile. Okay, so we're just patting that on. What I was saying was, like, I just expected more out of that dark brown. Is it making you think pumpkin pie? It is giving me kind of this effortless bronzy glam type of look. With that dark shade not being so dark, it looks kind of effortless, I guess. A little bit more out there. I can't explain how content I am once my Christmas stuff is up. I just have this feeling like in the house, in the evening, in the late afternoon. Give me a cloudy late afternoon so I can get those lights on sooner, you know, that's how I feel about things. We're gonna try to stick with this palette because I didn't pull out an eyeliner because apparently nobody's talking about eyeliners. I just couldn't think of anything that felt, oh, so hyped. But I'm gonna use a little bit of that dark brown down under, just like that for a little soft definition. There's the eye look. I mean, to me, it's feeling kind of average. Don't hate it, don't love it, not like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to pull out this palette again. I'm not feeling that way about it. So for mascaras, I feel like anything that has the word telescopic in it gets buzz. I have the telescopic lift. I've owned over time other telescopic versions as well. So we're gonna use the telescopic lift. I'm gonna be honest, I've had this one on hand for a little while and I haven't reached for it in some time. It was doing a pretty good job for me. I mean, it was holding curl. It was building well by the end of it. I just like moved on and have had other things to try. I hope you understand that this video is kind of speaking in general terms, right? Like, oh, everybody's talking about this. Obviously, there are some people who I'm sure are getting on somewhere and saying, have you tried the hard candy eyeshadow quads? Or are you getting on board with the Wet n Wild 5 and 10 pan palettes? There's somebody out there doing that, I'm sure. But this video is what I see the most of. The makeup the influencer crowd seems to love. I have trouble calling myself an influencer. I started before anyone even had a title. Like, I don't think people were even actually being referred to as beauty gurus when I started. We're just YouTubers. Look at that. That's doing good. I might even hear a little bit more about the telescopic traditional versions that people are really stuck on. You know, the ones that are actually packaged in the little tube that looks like a telescope. But this one does perform for me. Look at that. Yeah, no issues there. This is good. I honestly am not having any complaints about this mascara. There's the flat side that carries a bunch of product, and then the spiky sides that can like rake it on through. It's very much a technique idea that we saw in CoverGirl Supersizer years ago. Are they still making that one? I really like that. That'd be fun. Revisiting mascaras I really used to like, that I just haven't tried for a while because life goes on and more mascaras come out. My biggest takeaway, if any like influencer types are watching, anybody who makes videos or just anybody who's watching, I would say the stuff people need to dig into more, hard candy and Wet n Wild. I've got a little bit on my eyelid there that I think I can flake away, but I have to let it dry some more first. Okay, I think I got everything squared away on the eye there. That mascara is good. I like that. And I feel like it really does listen when I try to reinforce the curl. Like, it goes with it. It's like, yeah, we'll get up there. Two things on lips that immediately came to mind. TikTok loves these NYX basic pencils, which they do have some good shades. I went into my Ulta like a few months back and I couldn't believe how entire shades of this stuff was just sold out. These NYX basic lip pencils. I have the one called Mauve here. I know I've heard that mentioned. The one called Nude Truffle seems to be another hot one. And then lifter glosses. I'm part of this train too. I do really like these. I feel like I was slow to get on board with them because I felt like when I just applied them, they could feel a little heavy and goopy, kind of like the Fenty Gloss Bombs. But if you're careful in your application, if you get a little less on your lips, they can feel very moisturizing and just look very pretty and not be annoying at all if you just manage your application a little bit more. But we're going to use this. We all know what people need to get trying. People need to definitely make sure they're using Revlon Color Stay lip liners for their amazing staying power, and also Hard Candy Instapout. These liners are good. I think there are just some really iconic shades that people love, but they're much drier going across my lips. Maybe I should have prepped my lips more. I think the thing about NYX and these pencils, there's a whole amount of shades in the nude color family, wouldn't you say? They have so many options. Some are warmer, some are lighter, some are darker, some are cooler. That's mauve, all filled in. And then one of the shades I think I hear the most about is Moon. This is a really pretty gloss from the Lifter line. It does have a little shimmer in it. You'll find some, like there's the newer ones, which I talked about this in a short little TikTok video, but the newer ones that are in the shades like Taffy and Sweetheart, they're more sheer than they look in the tube, but they really do show on the lips. I love those. I love Taffy. I love Sweetheart. But then some of the more original ones have that shimmer going on, which looks really pretty on the lips. This combo is going to slay. I just know it. Again, managing application, maybe getting a little bit from the actual applicator of the doe foot and then using the side to spread it around so I don't end up with just too much goo. Because these buckfoot applicators carry a lot. Yeah, that's pretty. Pretty lip, pretty like mauve, not trying too hard, kind of nice looking lip. We have definition, we have shine. I'm not complaining about the lip, I'm just fascinated that this product seems to be where it's at among lip liners, you know? So yeah, my friends, thank you for watching this video. I would love to hear in the comments section, tell me what things do you feel like you're hearing about left and right on social media when it comes to drugstore makeup? What things are getting so much hype? And then is there something that you feel like deserves more in comparison to those things? My takeaway in this video, like the things that I felt like were the most effective effective and the most worth the hype. I really do like this concealer, even though like I can still see some places that I'm a little extra tired maybe, but this is a quality concealer. It's unique. I think it's very advanced. It's really pretty. And I like Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless too. Like this is a good looking foundation on my skin right now. And as we already discussed, this is quite glowy and I can see through that glow. The more sheer your foundation is, like this is kind of in the medium coverage department, the lighter coverage you have, the more you're going to see that primer through whatever it is. I feel like I'm seeing a decent amount of glow, but the skin does look really pretty. When it comes to this stuff, I think these are good products too. I really like the liquid highlighter even more than this. I just think you can get more potent, more like ease of use products right now when it comes to the liquids or cream bronzers. Milani Luminoso, I mean, I'm glad that the drugstore can have an iconic blush, but there's more than this out there that's, I think, even better than this, that shows up more than this. Like I've got a lot of glow on my cheeks because I've built this up quite a bit. There are things that could give us even more pigment. And what about the Wet n Wild Color Icon blushes too? The mascara, yes, telescopic lift, like that. Love my lifter gloss. These, again, there's more out there. This look is not bad, but it's not wowing me majorly. Halo Glow setting powder, like it, just don't like it quite as much as my Fit Me in Fair. So thank you for watching, my friends. I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you all very soon. I hope if you're celebrating Thanksgiving, you have a wonderful holiday, a safe weekend, and I will see you next time. I love you. Bye.